Posted by u/kbarney345. I hid and lied about my drug use for years and now it's actually hindering me after going clean. Part of the program is being drug-free. I smoked weed multiple times a day every day for years. The day of the program start I went clean, and the unique side of this program is they help addicts and users get clean and support them. I went cold turkey and have stayed clean as can be. I don't even smoke cigarettes or drink. I've been tested a dozen times since the 1st of January and have failed every single test. The first tests it was okay, they put you in a rehab-like program and it was me and a dozen or so other classmates. As each week went by, more and more people passed their test and moved on. I am now the last person left and still cannot pass. We've now reached the point where not passing actually has repercussions. I won't be removed from the program, I'll still pass and get certified in a set of data analytics skills, and I've even passed Microsoft Office Specialist Expert certification. I will be trained in multiple softwares that are very relevant and useful in today's field. However, by not passing a drug test I am barred from interviews and connections through the program. They will not let me interview with any employers or networking I've created in last 3 months, and they will not reference me for any seeking partners they're affiliated with. Also, since I still can't pass a test, any and all applications I've submitted are meaningless because they will drug test as well. I've now reached the point where I don't even see the point of finishing the program or pursuing jobs, because what's the point if I can't pass a goddamn drug test? I know I'm a bigger guy, about 275, and my non-existent exercise has made it last longer, but 71 fucking days. I feel like no one in the program staff cares anymore and they just see me as a lost cause. In a few weeks the program will end and I'll be in no better of a situation than I was when I started this program. This was supposed to get me a real serious job and career that would let me and my dad keep our home and he wouldn't keep draining his retirement. Now we're down to 5 to 6 months at best before he's exhausted everything he has. We will lose the home we built for my now passed mother, and he will have spent 50 years of his life only to have to move back in with his mother in bumfuck nowhere, Georgia, into a Depression-era home that is caving in on itself. It's beyond demotivating, and I've literally just been in a pissed-off sulking lump of a mood, and I'm losing any form of motivation and desire to keep trying. I feel like I've truly failed at life, and I'm only 26. I am beyond mad because it's something I literally don't have control over. I could run 8,000 miles a day in a desert and it isn't a guarantee I'll pass anytime soon. I'm literally left to just buy countless amounts of home drug test hoping someday I'll magically pass. But if you were to mouth swabs or blood test me, I know I'd pass. I'm stuck in limbo and it's killing me. Posted by you/insurance worker. I used to work at an insurance company and I deliberately rejected customers' insurance claims. First of all, sorry if I can't explain myself very well, I don't speak English and I could get some terms wrong, but I hope you get the point. The reason why I rejected customers' claims were because if someone presented evidence of the crash like photos, dashcam footage, or written testimonies and my customer was being an idiot and a total dick in that evidence, I will always make them go through a lot of paperwork or give excuses to reject or delay their insurance rights. For instance, if my customer was driving like a moron and proceeded to brake check someone and caused an accident, I will always delay their payment or the chance to sign up their car into a shop. I have to say that I only acted like a useless insurance worker when I was 100% sure that my customer was at fault and that he/she caused the accident due to being an asshole. Road rage, being drunk, disobeying road rules, etc. The reason why I decided to start to do this thing was because I had to attend a guy, like 20 years old, who had caused a major accident due to road rage, when I was asking some questions like how it happened. And that kind of thing. All his answers were like, yeah, he moved into my lane and I didn't like that, so I decided to chase him, or I don't care, I crashed, I managed to make the other guy crash too, and things like that. A total moron, and I decided that if I had the chance to make people suffer for their stupidity, I will take a shot at it. I think I rejected about 35 or 40 insurance claims before leaving my job, The only person who knows about this is an ex-co-worker who I can say is one of my best friends today. He sometimes did this thing of rejecting customers' insurance claims, like 5 times. Posted by you/Keeler Merlamt. I kicked my son out of our house for being gay. He became an alcoholic and nearly drank himself to death. This was in 1991, my son was 18 and going to a local college. Me and my wife considered ourselves sort of a normal New Jersey Italian Catholic family. We were traditional and fairly ignorant to most things. We hated the perceived feminization of culture. Images of drag queens in NYC and AIDS and the tight pants of modern kids made us recoil in horror. My wife found gay porn magazines in my son's room. I came home to a shitstorm. She was freaking out at him. I asked why and she showed me what it was. I felt my heart drop down into my stomach. It was like a punch to the gut. He was gay. It felt like the ultimate betrayal to us, betraying our religion, betraying the normal, healthy upbringing we gave him. We had zero concept of the idea of being born gay. We thought it was something you made a choice to engage in, and once you did it you couldn't stop. Everything that we had given him, a normal, religious, traditional home, with enough money to go to college and relative freedom to do what he wants, and he just threw it all away. At least, that is what I thought at the time. He was my only precious thing in the world, my son, the person who would inherit my family's name, the man who I raised from a child to be a man, but at that moment was the furthest thing from a real man in my mind I could imagine. I made the choice right then and there that he was no son of mine. He was just a sissy bitch who happened to live in my house. I know how horrific this sounds, because it was horrific. And it was how almost everyone who lived in our community felt. We were constantly spewed with propaganda to hate gay people and ideas that the youth were all gay and experimenting and getting AIDS and dressing as women. The hair metal, men wearing makeup, David Bowie, the drag queens in New York across the Hudson, Freddie Mercury, the ridiculous clothing of the era, it all gave the worldview that the world was turning into some gay, womanly wonderland. Anyways, I barely even spoke to him. My wife was the one who did all the yelling. I just went red in the face and couldn't even look at him. She told him to get the fuck out and go to New York to live with his friends, who she assumed were all gay, and she was right, mostly. She physically hit him, a lot, and got him to pack his stuff while he was crying and told him to get out. Me and my wife were just devastated afterwards. We went to church a lot. My wife told all the other families in the area and they were horrified at my son. I remember when we told our priest, who was a very nice, accepting man, about our son he looked to be disgusted, but when we told him we kicked him out he looked at us in disgust, or at least hided it a tiny bit. Living without my son hurt. It also made me rethink things over time. I still saw him almost as an inhuman person. To be gay, to me at that time, was so sinful and horrific that it was impossible to truly consider accepting them as real, normal people. Me and my wife grew apart in the 6 months following my son leaving. She started to drink a lot, and she was a nasty drunk. She had a history of alcoholism. I knew how bad it could get. This was the worst I had ever seen her. We fought constantly over stupid things, and all I could think about was that when our son was here, we never fought, he always calmed us down. In the end, I got kicked out of my own home. She just told me to leave. I moved to New York to live with my brother in Bay Ridge. We got divorced officially a few months later. She would die from liver failure 7 years later. I made the choice, a conscious choice, to find out where my son was. At that point my life was just in shambles and I was rethinking everything about how I viewed my religion, my life, and I was just so horribly depressed and lonely. Finding him was a nightmare of itself. It took 2 weeks of calling homeless shelters and asking around at them if they had seen my son months ago. I finally found him in an apartment in Williamsburg. I saw him and apologized, and I told him that I am so sorry I kicked him out. Part of me was still in the same mindset as before. I was still a raging homophobe, but I tried to push that part away and just be with my son and ignore everything else. He was a severe alcoholic. My first thought when I saw him, sweaty and skinny and sickly looking, was AIDS. But no, it was alcoholism. It runs in the family. He said that it started soon after I kicked him out, and that he was horribly depressed and turned to drinking heavily. Even his roommate said it was a major problem. For the next 3 months I spent a lot of time focusing on getting him clean. I met his friends, about half of whom were gay, and we worked together to help him. He went to a detox clinic, he went to rehab. We spent a lot of emotional days together. I didn't want to lose him, even though just a year before I was desperate to get rid of him. The thought of him dying, right after this, because we kicked him out, it was just too much to bear. I made the decision that if he died, I would probably commit suicide after. But he would get clean, then relapse 4 months later, then get clean again for 2 years, then relapse again. Then he quickly recovered. And he would never touch another drop again. Spending that time with my son, and seeing how he lived, and more importantly actually seeing how these gay men lived their lives, mostly completely normally, it completely changed me as a human being. In 1996, I went to my first Pride parade with my son to support him and his boyfriend at the time. I took a heavy interest in the LGBT community and went with my son to visit his friends in AIDS clinics. If you were to have told me in 1991 that I would be going to an AIDS clinic with a drag queen and being friendly with everyone by 1997, I wouldn't believe you in the slightest. Anyways, this post has been days in the making. I love Reddit even if I am a bit old for it, haha. I have told my story before to a journalist and it was published. If you feel deja vu reading this, I would very much prefer if you didn't reveal my identity on this post or post the article.